We don't get this shit together, then we all die. They ain't feeling sympathetic for the small guy. I don't think I'ma regret it when the cars fly. Ain't nothing really hitting like it used to. Gas wake the neighbors up like a rooster. It's a booster, help me see the future. I believe in karma and karma's future, so let's do some.
I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everybody. Let me say hi to the chat. Hi, Meatball. Hi, Desert Rain. No worries. Hi, Seashore Mary. Hi, P. Thomas. Hi, someone. Hello, Mr. Alex and Nathan Ward and Lufus Glymade and Mercy Choke and the Everyday Therapist and Dungeon Boy and Dave Steege and AZ and 4362 Munt and Michael Levine. All right, I think and Scro. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you there. All right, so I want to go ahead and get into this because I think what is going to be most feasible is bouncing mostly from the Twitter thread because I feel like I laid it out pretty cohesively, but then maybe going a little bit deeper into the reported production company of the upcoming Son of Sam Netflix documentary that is going to feature the heavy on the alleged shooting of Wendy Savino. And, it shouldn't surprise anybody that it's just all the same people, right? Hey, Occult Examiner. So I'm going to go ahead and run the intro and then we'll get into it. don't forget, we are literally out here fighting demons, y'all. And I'm sorry, but scroll your comment. I'm really hoping that it shows up over here because that is the funniest thing that I have read in a hot minute. Where is it? Hold up, right there. Who else finna process pill grandma while she's in town? That is hilarious. Thank you so much. And hello, Dave Metis and Haggis Basher. And all right, cool. I think I'm caught up. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into it. Let's pull up the old Twixter here. Una momento, because like I said, I tried to make it cohesive. And then I can pull up the PowerPoint, but I'm not going to get all butterfingery on you. So, plus, the Twitter thread's a little more jazzy. Now, I'm going to have to ask everybody because I know that people will ask. So I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of it. Oh, hey, AJ Life Jacket Gang, what's up? And hey, CC1234. In regards to this being the production company, get at me after this comes out and tell me that I'm wrong. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. This is reportedly. However, I am going to posit a couple of questions and, I think that my argument about the fake infighting that's been going on is just getting stronger by the day. And I also think that schizo clip is suddenly a lot more relevant. But let's go ahead and share this screen. And if you're on Twitter, sorry, it is what it is. I know that a lot of people aren't. And they're trying to get me to buy whatever, pay for the freaking subscription. It's stupid. Anyways, let's go. So, right here, Radical Media is reportedly the company producing the next Son of Sam documentary that will feature the alleged shooting of Wendy Sabino by David Berkowitz. The fix is in. And that's a little screen grab that I got from their website. So here we go. And I did go ahead and quote this with my original thread about Paul Hart Berger, because we still have not had any answers, right? Still haven't had any answers about that. But right here, Radical Media was founded in 1993 by John Kamen and Frank Sherma. Today, John Kamen is listed as CEO and owner of the company. Right here, according to Kamen, after working with world-renowned photographer Henry Sandbank for almost 20 years, he was asked to buy Henry out. He joined forces with Frank Sherma and created Radical Media. Now, Henry Sandbank, he is an interesting character. I want to show you guys just a little bit about him because he definitely was a pioneer, I would say, as far as advertising goes. So this Kamen guy is, no small character in this scene as far as production, things of that sort. I'm just going to show you two ads right here. So these are things that he is most well known for. If you guys remember I think this is the Michelin Baby. This is from August 19th, 1996, the Charlotte Observer. Whoops, right here. So they did a contest apparently, and the winner was Henry Sandbank, who did the Michelin tire ads with babies. He set about casting and found Chase Caruso, an adorable, energetic little tyke from Short Hills, New Jersey. Sorry, that just makes my Kill Bill sirens go off. And then over here, July 9th, 2006, this is the K9 Advantix commercials. It says there was somebody writing into the newspaper, the Tennessean. Those commercials are so adorable. Can you tell us who does the excellent voiceover for the darling blonde Labrador puppy? But right here, it says the show-off spot for K9 Advantix comes from the agency of Bernstein Rhine and was helmed by legendary TV commercial director Henry Sandbank. So, obviously, I'm thinking about, best friends. I also don't think that that's really that crazy for me to be thinking about them. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm telling you, this updated technology, very confusing for an old hag like me. So let's go ahead and let's get back into the Twitter. There we go. All right, so right here, a more interesting powerhouse tied to Radical Media is Alan Patricof, New York venture capitalist. In a moment of noided serendipity, Patricof's firm funded the publisher E.F. Dutton the exact same publisher who tanked Ed Sanders' book, The Family, over the process chapter. And that is indeed true. This is from the Gawker archives. Right here, it says the granddaddy of private equity and a legendary media and technology investor, Patrikov is currently the chairman of Apex Partners and the founder of Graycroft LLC. But it says that in the 70s, he was one of the more prominent media investors in town, funding Scientific American and publisher E.F. Dutton. That technically does line up with the timeline. I'm sorry, I just totally spaced for 5 seconds. With Ed's book, right? Because that's in the 70s. And obviously, there is a lot of stuff going on with the acquisition of the Village Voice, which is Tom O'Neill's former employer. Just pointing that out because that's also kind of weird. And moving on. This is from that article lower down. It says Patrikov's wife worked for CAA. We'll come back to this. And here is his work with John Kamen and Radical Media. So it says Patrikov has 3 sons with his second wife, Susan. Mark, who used to work at the Hollywood agency CAA and now runs an online site called Ad TV with Radical Media with John Kamen. John Patrikov, who works with his uncle and aunt at Tribeca Enterprises, and Jamie, a former film producer who is now the CEO of thedailyreal.com. The Patrikovs have an apartment at 830 Park, but spend a bunch of their time at their East Hampton estate where they met Bill and Hillary Clinton. Patrikov and his wife have been major Democratic donors and avid supporters of the Clintons. And I noted here that they were not only big donors and friends of the Clintons, but they did actively work with them during numerous campaigns. And of course, Patrikov was one of the founders of New York Magazine and worked with Jimmy, the dog made me do it, Breslin himself. So Jimmy Breslin was one of the vice presidents of New York Magazine. Hopefully you guys can see that. That is February 18th, 1971 Newsday. And Patrikov was the president of the board at that time. Okay, so lots of crossover here. Now this one, as an aside, and I'm sure it's totally unrelated, sarcasm hopefully is coming across. Patrikov was tied into a big political scandal along with the firm of Howard Rubenstein, Jim Grossman's former employer, and a major campaign contributor of then Mayor Abe Beame. This is from the Daily News, Sunday, March 18th, 1979. Not going to sit here and really get into it because it's a little bit boring, but there was funny money going around and public bus shelters. It's all quite confusing. And quite frankly, I don't really care right now. Okay. But let's keep going. So back to Radical Media. John Kamen's resume boasts credit for the Paradise Lost series on HBO. This docuseries is often credited with exonerating the West Memphis Three in the court of public opinion and contributing to their eventual release from prison. So here he is also credited with the Fog of War. Let me see what happened, Miss Simone. A series called Mars, the National Geographic 6-part global miniseries, and a Netflix 8-part docuseries, Abstract: The Art of Design. And he is a recipient of the Smithsonian National Design Award and Mayor Bloomberg's Made in New York Award. He sits on the board of trustees for the Rhode Island School of Design, Cooper Hewitt, Smithsonian Design Museum, the Museum of the Moving Image, Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation, and Jamaica Bay Rockaway Parks Conservancy. So this guy is very plugged in, obviously. Let's go ahead and move on. Look who it is. In 2012, Kamen produced Iconoclast Season 6, the first episode featuring James Franco and Marina Abramovic. So obviously, this is a big red flag to me, and I'm not going to sit here and get into the history of Marina Abramovic. If you know, you know. My bigger issue here is with Franco. And I said, I've discussed the heavy hand that Franco has played in the assassination of the late Maury Terry's legacy previously, so I won't digress here. And again, I show from a previous thread the note from Ed Sanders' archives, August 11th, 2014, where Maury Terry called him with the good news that James Franco was optioned the, oh gosh, I had a hard time reading this last time, y'all, something HBO series, and it might be filmed. It's hard to read. Ed's handwriting is absolutely horrible, but let's go ahead and continue. So, radical media is no stranger to Netflix disinformation campaigns. A recent example is Conversations with a Killer about John Wayne Gacy, which omits the proven connections to John Norman, Philip Paskey, and Dean Corll. These shows continue to perpetuate the lone nut theory. Now, let me go ahead and pop into the PowerPoint because from here, I think it'll be a little bit easier to give you guys the picture of what I'm trying to point out, and I certainly don't think that I'm being unfair. These connections with Gacy, Norman, it's not a conspiracy theory. These things are proven. And them leaving this out after the fact is very strange to me. However, let me go ahead and pull this back up where I had it. So, they've done a few of these. I believe that they have one with Bundy. I don't know if they have one with Dahmer, but so right here, it says serial killer John Wayne Gacy was an aspiring politician, beloved local contractor, and part-time clown for hire who murdered 33 young men between 72 and 76. The majority of his victims were found buried under his house in the quiet northwest suburbs of Chicago. 50 years later, DNA scientists are still trying to identify all of his victims, but thanks to 60 hours of unearthed audio between Gacy and his defense team, we have fresh perspective on the narcissistic mindset of the murderer and a deeper understanding of how he operated for so long with impunity. The second installment in an ongoing series from filmmaker Joe Berlinger, Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes. This 3-part documentary also features new interviews with key participants, some of whom have never talked before, including gut-wrenching testimony from one of Gacy's survivors, all in search of answers to a crucial question. How was a public figure like Gacy able to get away with murder for so long? There is John Kamen's name as well as radical media. So, keeping all of that in mind, it should surprise nobody that they also produced the documentary on Netflix, The Sons of Sam. Right? You guys picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah? Kind of weird, right? Little bit sus? Little bit sus to me. So, what is their synopsis? The hunt for the Son of Sam captivated the world in the late 1970s, but the story behind one of America's most notorious serial murderers is all but forgotten until now. While the arrest and conviction of David Berkowitz brought the nightmare to an end for many New Yorkers, for journalist and Ultimate Evil author Maury Terry, the real mystery was just beginning. Terry, convinced Berkowitz had not acted alone, would go on to spend decades attempting to prove that the web of darkness behind the murders went deeper than anyone imagined, and his pursuit of that elusive truth would eventually cost him everything. And here we have filmmaker Joshua Zeman, Cropsey, Murder Mountain, and showrunner Sarah Enright, Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, draw on archival news footage, conversations with the people closest to the investigation, and Terry's own words and case files to tell a cautionary tale of a man who went down a rabbit hole and never came out. But was Maury Terry just chasing ghosts, or are the true sons of Sam still out there? It's a great question. It's a really good question, right? I'm going to try to be ladylike, but we're going to go back over to the Twitter section now that you guys have seen the synopsis there and ask probably the most pertinent question in my opinion. For those who know the lore of the current Son of Sam disinformation campaign on YouTube, I ask, why would someone who broke an NDA related to Maury Terry's files be working with the same production company a couple years later to discuss the same case? I wish I could put on the Jeopardy music. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah? Joshua Zeman and Manny Grossman claim to have parted ways, one would think due to the broken NDA, so I find it strange the radical media would even consider platforming the latter, unless the public disagreements aren't organic, an opinion I've firmly held for some time. And I went ahead and blocked out this information. However, you can literally find this on Google. But Joshua Zeman is listed as an executive producer and director at Radical Media, and that was updated on November 8th of this year at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Personally, I believe the exact same people who slandered the late Maury Terry while running a disinformation campaign for the Process Church of the Final Judgment, aka Best Friends Animal Society, coming together again shows a heavy bias, one not based in truth. And this is an ad that they did for them. Maybe I will pull that up before we end the stream. But right here, to wrap up things, I said that I would revisit CAA. I have no interest in providing a full history, but Radical Media is cited as being represented by them. Their other clients, and one of John Kamen's most famous series, only brings more questions. This is an article from Deadline from 2021. It says Radical Media is teaming up with the Jerry Garcia Family LLC and Red Light Management on the Jerry Garcia feature documentary. But right down here, it says Radical Media, the Jerry Garcia Family LLC, and Justin Kreutzmann are represented by CAA. Michael Ovitz, former CAA talent agency chairperson, was subpoenaed with Sergey Brin, Thomas Pritzker, and others in the Virgin Islands lawsuit against JP Morgan Chase regarding their ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And obviously, for people who follow the Epstein case closely, you are aware of this. Radical Media produced the Netflix documentary series Filthy Rich about Jeffrey Epstein. This is the most garbage documentary about Jeffrey Epstein. If you have seen it, I'm not talking about the victims, but the documentary itself was complete, excuse my French, fucking garbage. It literally exposed nothing. And down here, as of late, CAA was named in a lawsuit against Harvey Weinstein for allegations of sexual abuse by Julia Ormond. CAA lost its bid to be dismissed from the case in August of 2024. And this says Harvey Weinstein's accuser wins big against Disney, Miramax, and the talent agency CAA. The notion that Netflix cares about anything other than the dollar they can make off of lies, defamation, and slander is foolish and factually inaccurate. The Savino story is simply more money in their pocket by the same people who brought you the Sons of Sam. Stay noited, y'all. So, I get for the people that are already on my Twitter, that's not that exciting. I don't know what to tell you. However, I again, would love to know what the logic is here to insinuate behind the scenes that the NDA was going to be enforced or something was going to be done about it. What was the point of having one made or having anyone sign it? Unless all of this is manufactured, right? Because that's how I feel at this point. And I do believe that the evidence supports my theory, even though people will call me a stupid conspiracy theorist or a ball bagger, whatever other names the Gardner and the Garden Brigade want to, give me. That's fine. I would like to know what the logic is. Because Radical Media, while they may not be a household name, you guys have seen they're no small potatoes, right? So it doesn't really make sense to me why someone like Mr. Zeman, who would, in my personal opinion, it would seem that they would have to do their due diligence, right? In regards to a production of this sort that would go onto Netflix, right? With Radical Media. Why would you bring someone on that violated the NDA? Yeah? I don't think that anybody has a good answer. You mean to tell me that these folks actually do know each other despite their repeated claims otherwise? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. None of this makes sense to me, except for it makes perfect sense to me because it just tracks with, my opinion that gets stronger with the evidence as time goes by, that all of this is fake and gay, right? The whole infighting is fake and gay. I don't endorse any of this. I think that all of this is complete garbage, and I don't know why people don't ask more questions, right? Uh, it's man, I gotta bite my tongue. I really gotta bite my tongue. I'm not even trying to be a smartass. I could be really petty right now, but I'm not going to. I'm trying to keep this short and concise and not really digress too much. I'm honestly not even really going to engage with the chat. Let me see if there's anything else in this PowerPoint that I wanted to show you guys in particular, because I mean, they've done some other stuff, this production company. They've done a few other things. Nothing too exciting. It's a lot of true crime stuff, which obviously is a big red flag to me. However, this will be the second time, but I wasn't wrong the first time, right? Because as soon as I started talking about the fact that there was going to be a Netflix series, who came out of retirement? Who came out of retirement, right? And gave me the title of ball bagger cottage industry queen extraordinaire, right? Yeah, exactly. It's not really a secret anymore. So I wasn't wrong. So write it out for me. Okay, write it out for me, because I will happily come on and say that I'm wrong if it's not the case. But I would certainly encourage people to take these individuals to task. It's not me necessarily levying all of the blame on one person. However, I have to look at who is the most common thread, right? And the most common thread is Mr. Zeman. It's a Halloween skull. People have been asking me about my Halloween skull since I started streaming. I got it at Michael's. It was on clearance. It's Halloween decoration. Whatever. I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just, people, whatever. I'm not even going to get into that stuff. I'm going to do the vertical thing. That way people aren't throwing a hissy fit about me doing it here. But the point is, I would take these people to task and ask them questions, right? Because don't care about secret files, don't care about like newspaper archives. I'm not mocking Wendy Savino. I'm not attacking her. I think that she is just as much a victim of these vultures as everyone else, and I'm allowed to have that opinion, right? I'm allowed to have that opinion as an outsider observing the situation. And it's just fucking amazing to me that now all of the sudden the idea of, her husband being a wise guy, as Mr. Grossman stated, that now all of a sudden that's being brought into the conversation when I had made those inquiries from the jump, right? Why can't people just be honest up front? I don't understand it. I guess I do to an extent because it's all about greed. But the truth's going to come out in the wash. I'm not going anywhere. Manny, Josh, Neo, Raina, the other people that I won't name for now because I don't feel like it. But man, I mean, I'm just a hillbilly in the woods. Why didn't you guys have this information, huh? And why didn't you guys bring it up? I don't really know what to tell you. I guess we'll wait and see, right? We'll wait and see. And if you guys want to continue to argue in your own comment sections, have fun, because I'm not going to take any of that seriously. Everything else has to be addressed first. All of the other inconsistencies, blatant lies, and obfuscation must be addressed first in order for you to be taken seriously by me or anybody else with a fully developed frontal lobe. But again, this is just my opinion. I am going to leave it here for now. And again, I would highly encourage people to take these individuals to task. especially when the story keeps changing, right? This is all organic. Just a die-hard Ultimate Evil fan for all their life. Dream came true. And there was someone waiting with a definitely not curated selection of the late Timo's files. Then what's everybody getting their panties in a twist for, right? Catch you guys soon.